right, guys. Hello, hello, hello. It's always that last minute thing. I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot one thing. I still need that coffee cup icon. I know, right? I feel like it's in there somewhere, though. I mean, there's a beer mug, but I feel like there should be a coffee one as well. I totally agree with you on that one. Um, yeah, it's so funny. I'm like, all right, I got this, I did this good. And then I'm like, oh, God, I forgot this. It's always at the last minute that I remember it, too. It's so funny. Um, all right, so let's jump into things today. Interesting. Yesterday, we had 141 pip change in 24 hours in something like the pound. Right now, it's only 14. So you can see how things quickly turn and slow and accelerate. And again, that's what happens in the markets, especially in the last week of August. Um, it's funny. This traditionally used to be like the worst week. I can't say worst because the first week of August is always bad too. But the last week of, basically the last week of August, right before, school starts and everything, it's traditionally just like the worst, right? Because so many people are just not even looking at charts. They're getting their kids ready or sending the kids back or that last, vacation to sneak in. It's always this last week. So it's always kind of funky. But right now, in the last 24 hours, again, we had huge movement yesterday. Everything more or less kind of stabilized, flatlined on us. And the story is kind of mixed now. Okay. For the most part, I mean, there's really besides the euro weakening, there's really not much that kind of stands out right now. I guess Aussie strengthening a little bit. Aussie strengthening a little bit comes back, but I wouldn't say that it was an absolutely enormous kind of move. Minus 21 on the euro dollar is really nothing. I mean, that's kind of rather small in 24 hours. 6, 4, and 5, yeah, those are like nothing. And again, that's kind of the backing off of the dollar story, right? Dollar CAD down 19, and again, that's a little bit of movement. We've talked about that one grinding lower, and again, the Aussie up being 23. The Aussie up 23 is the story of the morning, right? Because that's the biggest mover. And then euro pound down 19. Again, European weakness. That's what we're seeing there. And then pound yen 10. That's basically just flat. I mean, that's just chatter back and forth. So nothing we need to worry. So, as far as things this morning, again, we have the 8:30 news, the core durable goods orders and stuff. I think those are going to be probably. I don't know if kind of the media will grab onto that or if it'd be more of like a crude oil story this morning. Like I said, I mean, core durables, I'm expecting them to be, you know, unless they blow out what the previous numbers were, these are going to be very, very easy to put a negative spin on them, right? Just to be like, hey, listen, they are, they're lower than they were last time, right? And which when most people would hear that and take negative. But if they are more than the forecast, then obviously that is actually something that's positive, right? Because the market adjusted for that lower number, and they'll need to be pushed up a bit more, right? So, you know, it is what it is. We'll see what the kind of the final tally on that one is supposed to be. For today. Now, the CAD news, the CAD at 10, I don't know that we're going to get too much out of that. Wilkins speeches are typically not the biggest of movers, so we don't really need to worry about that as much. Crude oil, obviously, that's going to be a big thing, minus 3.4. That's going to be a check half hour before. Let's see kind of what's stabilized. Again, I don't even know if it's anything good on that one, but, we can check it. And then, really, that's it for the day. Coffee is a little hot today. I'm trying not to burn my mouth. Um, but yeah, so the capital private expenditures, maybe something. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's supposed to be quite negative compared to what it was previously, so that may give us something for Aussie, but we'll see. Scanner wise, really the only thing that really stands out to me right now is the the European weakness across the board. Everything is basically straight down. One of those is an anchor break. Starting with the left this time, I mean, you can see that we have 3 up with the dollar. I wouldn't say the dollar has a ton of strength, but it's got a little bit, right? Followed by, the next 3 are also dollar weakness. It's like, wait, dollar strength and dollar weakness, against the New Zealand Aussie, and that's been a trend. And then obviously the euro dollar straight down, confirmed across 3 time frames, and that's just falling to the floor right now. CAD basket is kind of all over the place as well, kind of like the majors. Aussie basket again, for the most part, except versus the yen, is up, right? I mean, minor strength, and again at 23 versus the dollar, that's the biggest mover in the last 24 hours. And then pound, literally split down the middle, right? Strong versus the Swiss yen and dollar, weak versus the Aussie, New Zealand, and CAD. So basically, it is weak versus the commodity-based pairs, and all the other ones it is strong against. So kind of a split morning. It's not showing really much great opportunity for anything right now. So We'll see. Latest news again. Looking through, you're seeing, 67% of Australians have experienced a change in their employment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sense. I mean, here you go. If he announces the average inflation targeting, right, the media will be on high alert. On Thursday. See, they're talking about Jackson Hole right here. If they bring that up, again, inflation, what everybody's worried about. China said to expect a purchase of a record amount of soybeans from the U.S. in 2020. Again, that's good, right? That's great data. Investors are running in complete blindness right now. Okay. Um, let's see. Recession in February could revisit the economy in pandemic. Yeah, there you go. Again, that's kind of what I don't know. I mean, right now, I mean, you guys can let me know, but right now, this is kind of when I assume it's going to kick in, right? Um, right here, session that begin in February, or it says that began in February. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Could revisit the economy if the coronavirus intensifies itself. I thought it was saying the recession that will start in February next year, and that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. That February will be the big crash next year. So yeah, I misread that one a little bit, but yeah, if it intensifies, I don't know how much more it's going to intensify at this point. I do feel like we've gotten a better hold on it. People that I talk to all over the place. I know. I guess I saw something from Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, and they said this is the first time since March they have not had a single patient on ventilators. So I do feel like most places have gotten a handle or kind of gotten ahead of it. Obviously, people can still get it. I mean, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying it feels like the medical system has gotten kind of ahead of it now, and we are seeing the downside. So it's kind of the what happens when round two comes around, or kind of it changes, I think is the big question. But they're expecting to have vaccines in the next 3 months, or the initial kind of approvals slash data, and thus far all the data has been great. Um, they've had some really good data on there, and it kind of makes you wonder if the data has been so good on this one, why wouldn't we have it for other things that exist? It's amazing when everybody and all effort is focused on one thing, how much can get done. Like, imagine if all the resources in the world right now that we're focusing on COVID, right? Imagine if they focused on cancer, right? What could happen like a year or 2 years from now with the battle against cancer, right? It's like amazing when everybody puts their heads together, what happens? Like cooperation. Wow. So, but yeah, so the second wave, maybe. I at this point, I think we are more at risk with administration change and new policy than anything else. More than COVID as far as the economy goes. So we'll see if we're able to dig ourselves out. So that's what we got going for today. Tomorrow morning, there's not even anything early, European wise. The first thing we'll see tomorrow is 8:30, so we'll be back on for that. But that's it, pretty much flat, even news wise. All right. As I said, scanner, basically euro weakness, and I guess now at this point, Aussie strength across the board. And again, the reason why the Aussie is higher, again, two things. One, you have them mentioning, inflation, right? As soon as you mention inflation, it's kind of like, oh. But the interesting thing is, while the Aussie is up, and again, it's not up by like 90 pips, right? It's only up by a little bit. I mean, 30 pips in 24 hours is not much. Gold is not going crazy. Even though, I mean, this was 9 hours ago, so I guess maybe a little bit of a bump, but 9 hours ago they mentioned inflation in the news on something like Zero Hedge, and gold has not gone anywhere, right? If anything, it's gone like slightly down. So interesting. All right, so let's jump over right into the charts. Let's see, right here. All right, so first things first, the Aussie dollar. So Aussie again, up 30 pips in 24 hours, and you can see we had a little bit of a retrace. This is the zone we mentioned yesterday, right? Coming in at 72.03, right? And this is a zone that, again, while it gave us that nice kind of retest of the zone, right? A drop, a pullback, grabbed it, and then collapsed before into the proper area. Came back up and again was tested once again, and then did the same thing. And then came back up again and tested it. And this is technically hit number 4, or hit number. I guess if you count this retest here, then yes, this would be test number 4, 3. And we've gone pretty deep into that zone. We've gone about that deep into that zone right now. So it's an area where I could see definitely with the U.S. markets coming online. A bit of a short today. It is a bit of a consolidation play. Kind of pushing back down without gold kind of leading the charge on this one. This has been kind of a pure, I'd say, Australian speculation at this point. So, I mean, I think a reversal is most likely in order. Obviously, it's not at the upper reaches or the lower reaches of the curve, so that's kind of one of the negatives for me. And again, you guys know I'm very much about kind of statistical trading, stacking the odds in our favor. Yeah, it's in an area. This area's been hit multiple times though. So again, while I do think there could be a small time short in here, when we drop it down to this lower level, and again, this has had to be hand drawn. But when we drew that level, you can see from there, this is what this would have looked like on the lower time frame, right? Again, is that 1 to 3 in a great place? Not really. Not really. It's beyond a piece here. I mean, it's positive. It's hit. But if anything, I'd be looking kind of, it's probably worth a short now because again, we've had that reaction to the dollar overnight, and with the U.S. market coming along, we tend to see a bit of reversal from that. So again, I do think there's probably a short here. There is a level higher as well, and I was kind of thinking, hey, listen, this has been hit multiple times. Front run, hit, hit, hit. It is kind of set up for a break. Is there a Harry Potter through the top side? Question is, maybe, and here's why. Okay, so I'm just going to throw it on this side. We'll do it the other way. It's gonna this way. Okay, so that's what it would look like for a Harry Potter. You guys see this piece right here? Okay, it doesn't give us a clear run to the 1 to 3 before we hit that level. So kind of a bit concerned about that one for that breakout. So I think right now, I think right now the prudent just delete the number. Right now, I would say probably just keep us in that short that we're in right now, at the 72.07 level. And again, it did push pretty deeply. If we can break through this last little bit of basing right here, I don't think we'll have an issue. I actually do think it has a possibility of coming back down into the 71.67 range today. That's the last time we really had strong, like very clean, bullish, price movement. So even if you are holding this one and you get your 1 to 3, I would not hold it to 1 to 5. I think that is a pretty risky area for what we really need to kind of punch down to. All right, so that's kind of where we are now. Let's look at Aussie yen. Aussie yen on the 1 hour. Let's bring it back down. Actually, we do have to go a bit higher. So right there. So we had this Aussie position on. This one actually did manage to break through the top just by a little bit and kind of retrace. So it looks like on this one, number 4 was the ringer, right? So we had this, I guess 1, 2, 3, and this kind of reestablished itself. This was 4, and this was 5. So we finally burst out the top, and you can see that it's really kind of done nothing but based. The way that it's kind of reacted in the last, I don't know, like 6, 8 hours, this kind of pop, drop, and then this basing sideways also leads me to believe that it would like to go down today. Again, it has been unable to kind of punch higher and again, kind of push down. And again, we're running out of steam right now, but you know, it looks like it wants to overtake this bottom section here. And the reason why is, again, we know that sellers have stepped in this area before. Again, we pushed it high. We went just above and then kind of got hammered back down again. So one way to look at this, and unfortunately the 30-minute is not really the cleanest entry there. But I would, any shorts that we put in, and again, those shorts kind of come in. Unfortunately, that candle's not the best. Let me see on the 15. There's a little one in there, kind of like this. Um, Tiny. It's tiny, unfortunately. It's a little zone. But you guys can see it was a very, very quick retrace to the downside. Man, getting entry on this one's going to be a pain. Where are we on the curve? Let me see. So we're still high. Obviously, very, very high. Again, here, you guys can see up here, we're stacked all the way up, right? So I don't know if we're going to be able to get up to 76.70 this morning. That would need, let's see. It would need about 16 pips worth of movement. Could we get that with durable goods? It's possible. If we have a durable goods miss, again, it's a little bit early for the yen to kind of respond to these things. If this was like a 10 or 10.30 number, it'd be a little bit easier. I would say if we do get up in that range, it is probably worth a short. If we start to see a rollover and collapse again, I'd be shooting for this one to the downside. I do think downside-wise today, again, very similar to the Aussie dollar, I do think we have a chance to get back to 75.91 today with, again, decent yen pressure coming in. I would be worried about this level right here. I do think this level right here, with the way that these wicks are formed, how this is low and then this is higher and then it exploded off, I do think that this area is going to give us a bit of a kicker. So I do think we will slow a bit. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, listen, we roll over, we break this low, take a short. But I feel like that could be a kicker. So there may be, let me see, 30 minutes of clear. Not really. I was hoping it would give us a cleaner entry, but I'd like to set a Harry Potter up here. If we do get a breakdown, I would like to set this. I think that's a valid entry. Again, this test is coming back right here again where the market was tested previously. So I think that could be a valid short in there if we get a break. And actually, hold on, let me there, right? And you can see that that is right, kind of right here where we're getting these tests at, right? So I think if we can get, if we're able to get a break at 76.25, I'd be interested in taking this down to about 75.03. I'm sorry, 76.03. And in reality, we could probably even go a bit farther than that. Okay, so very, very small risk. Again, small, 20, 25 pip little run there. And again, you could use it technically off the 30-minute. I just think that we're going to have a little bit more, again, we do have a green in there, so we could take it off that level, which would actually make this even, again, smaller, but your 3-to-1 is a little bit easier. I think we're clean on that one to the downside. Ideally, though, I'd like to get a pop. I think that would give us the best opportunity. A little pop up with news, grab this 76.70, and then take that short back down into 76.32. Okay. All right, your yen. All right, so here's the box that I drew yesterday saying, hey, I'd really like to see the overtaking of this, retracing back to the origin of the move, back down to 125.07. As you can see, we're, pretty deep into it right now. We're about 32 pips in. Again, I like the European weakness. Hopefully, we can get a little bit more news to kind of help finish this off early morning. But this one, we're still on that short. Not willing to take it long when it gets back down there. I don't like the zones, even though it was a nice pop. They are not the cleanest, right? On the 30-minute, again, you can see they get pretty choppy back in here. Of all the zones down here, I'd really the one that I would be into the most would be probably here 24.77 before I'd be looking for some type of a bounce. This is a very small, kind of too small for me. This one is too small. I think 24.75 would be the kind of first time I'd be willing to kind of jump into a long. But again, remember target for this one is 25.03. Okay, to the downside. Probably a little bit of a hiccup here too, but I think we'll overtake the whole thing today. Okay. Here we go. So yesterday we had a Harry Potter set up, and what did I mention? When we get the break, we're looking to overtake this green box, okay? But we're going to set this level, and again, it may not trigger. Well, guess what? It has not triggered yet, all right? What did we do? We came down and touched, then we bounced. And again, no harm, no foul. We didn't end our trade. We touched again and it bounced. No harm, no foul. Touched again, no harm, no foul. Touched again, no harm, no foul. Touched again, no harm, no foul. But every time it touches, it's eating more and more orders up in this level. So this is still a valid entry for today. And again, this would be that yen strength coming into the market. It's a break of 139.55, right? If price breaks through, look for a retraced up, grab that zone again, and then look for a collapse down. Your 1 to 3 is the light green. Your 1 to 5 is the dark green. And again, both those areas I think are great. They are, again, 1 to 3 would be a little bit better if it was nicer. But again, I'm fine with that one, and I do think we will probably retrace this one. I think this has the power, again, when it starts moving, to come back down at least down here in the 138.90. Okay? So not much has changed there from yesterday. Now the pound. Pound didn't do much. So yesterday, resize this. So here's where we're sitting right now. Yesterday for the presentation, we were sitting right here. Okay, so really didn't give us movement up or down. Gave us a little tiny bit of a pop, pulled right back again, a little pop, and then pulled back down. So very, very minor. We're only like, I don't know, probably 6, 7 pips from where we were yesterday at the Nanix presentation. I think we still need to hold 132.41, short those on the top side, and then 130.59 on the downside would be the first area. And again, what I would do is I would combine those in and do kind of a double zone, right? I would use both of these areas right here. Yeah, I think that's the safest play in this one. Until that happens, there's just not enough here to be able to kind of maintain a short out of, right? There's, little tiny kind of hidden areas, but even on the 30-minute, I wouldn't say that anything is super clean in here to be able to take the short. And I just dropped it to a lower time frame if you guys didn't notice it. So again, Sideways movement, no trend. Again, if it's not trending, not really interested. But I do feel that it will probably tag the bottom before the top. I do think, again, it's made many attempts and the attempts keep getting lower. I do feel that as soon as these buyers stop supporting this one, as soon as we get some actual dollar strength in, which could come in today, especially if the durable good orders are good. Again, that'll give us the rollover back down. So at a glance, I would say I'm bearish the pound dollar. I'm looking for it to come down, and then remember, if this, then that. If it gets down to 130.60, I'll be looking to take something long out of this. But until that time, not necessarily as interested. Okay. Looking at euro pound. So euro pound again. There's our box that we mentioned yesterday. The European weakness is again that we not yesterday. This was we mentioned this Monday, I guess. We drew this one talking about how the on the hourly it was such a fast ascent, very very fast, and kind of formed a cliff over it. We were looking for kind of some type of a punch down, and it's on its way. It's kind of the same setup, right? It is moving. It's coming back down to the 89.51. I do think at 89.51 we do have to be thinking, hey, is there a long here? Is there going to be a bounce? I mean, right now you are about 30 pips into this to the downside. Again, be trailing your stop, drop it down to a 30-minute or something like that. No, at worst case right now, you guys should have your stop down here, probably having at least 19, 18, 19 banked in. Again, it's already stabilized and based, and let it just kind of run at this point. And again, make sure your final profit target is 89.51 to the downside. Okay. Um, and ways that you could have got into this one. Again, we ended here on Friday. Here was where that gap, or here was where the gap was it Monday? Or was it yesterday? I guess it was yesterday. Here is your gap. So here was an easy entry for those of you like, well, how do we get into this? Could we have gotten in here? Maybe, sure, but that really wasn't the cleanest because it was basing on the top. Here, right? It gave us a gap and then refilled the gap, and that's where the rollover happened. So this would have been the cleaner, less kind of crazy. Again, when you drop down in 4 candles, it's kind of like, it's going to pull back. Let's get in on the pullback, right? And that's, the pullback kind of came over here, and that's what gave us the true entry for this one for risk-wise. So not much we can do. We're already in a short position on that one. Here's the dollar. This one just continued to push lower. So we were sitting right here right now. Yesterday we were sitting right here, right? And price didn't quite give us that third entry. So we got our profit one, and it kind of stopped right here. So we missed entry for a third time. It obviously went down past our profit targets. It's stopping right now, right along where we mentioned. We said, hey, listen, it's probably going to run into something down here, right? This is where a level formed. It touched, it touched, it touched, it touched. And you can see exactly what it's doing right now. For me on this one, I do feel that this one can get lower down here. So we already have one Harry Potter kind of marked off. And again, it's kind of a duplicate, right? We had one back here at the end of July, and price hasn't reached that level yet. And now there's a smaller one that we were able to find over here as well, kind of on the same principles. Well, that's kind of what we have going here. There's a bit of a level here, so I'd be risky. I think it would be a little bit risky just to say, hey, listen, I'm going to take this for another Harry Potter here into another one. If anything, you could be short. If there's a small position, let's see, it's about 50 pips. So I mean, I guess there is one there. Probably going to have a little bit of a hiccup here. But I mean, if this thing comes back down again, and remember, there's very specific rules about this, right? Very specific rules. If this thing comes down, base is sideways, then we can go ahead and take it for a short. But only if and then it does that, right? Only if and then it does that. If it just goes straight down, we've missed the trade. It's not a clean break. It's a drop, a base, and then a pull back up again. Grab those orders, and that's where we're looking to get short. We want that retracement because then we know that it's looking for orders to sell, okay? But again, just be wary that we have these over here. They're a bit risky. They add some risk to it. It's about 10 pips for 30. So again, great intraday short position on this guy. All right. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD just chopped sideways. Dollar CAD is up or is down about 14 pips from where we were yesterday. Again, here's where we are right now, right? And actually, remember, it's not a true 24 today. So here's where we were sitting yesterday for Nadex. So it's down about 10 pips. Okay. We wanted to come much, much lower. I think we had this on the 30-minute. Yeah, we were looking for kind of positions down here at the extreme. It didn't even make it. It just kind of it rolled right off of this. Again, not one that I would have traded. I'm going to move this down right now so we can use this one. There's your wick over wick. Right? You guys see it over here? Not one that I would have taken. At 8:30, this is kicking in. Right here's where the Nadex presentation was yesterday. So it's kind of like watch it here, and again, that happened at 10 o'clock last night. We hit that wick over wick. Is it the highest quality time? Not really. Not something for the dollar CAD, and it would have given you a 3-to-1, but I think it was a bit riskier. So, it was there. I was waiting for 31.42. Man, the coffee is still hot. I love mugs that keep coffee hot, but not too hot. We're at like that scorching, like, hot pizza level. So yeah, sideways movement. This one probably won't move as much today. I mean, if Wilkins says something really, really crazy at 10, we may get some movement. But even down on a 30-minute, we just don't really have the levels right now to be trading this one. Using even just this 130, the 31.42 and the 32.36 is kind of our top and bottom of the curve, right? Separating this out where shorts are coming in here, longs are coming in here, and then we do nothing in the middle. There's not a whole lot that we can do right now, right? Because we're kind of stuck in the middle. There's no super clean levels. There is lower highs, right? Here's one, here's one, here's one, and then it's kind of another one. So it is technically in that kind of downtrend type sequence. But again, we've now formed a stabilization and gotten a higher low out of it. So ideally, I'm going to show patience on this one. I'm going to wait for this top and bottom. I'm not going to try to snag kind of crazy levels in the middle. I'm going to wait for high quality because we got enough other things going on right now. Okay, dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss has finally popped back up. Now, why is this popping up? Why are we, why in the last hour and a half is there a 30 pip move higher? Well, again, we saw that news about how China says they're going to buy $2 billion worth of, soybeans more. They're buying more soybeans. And again, that's great when there's positive talk between the two countries. Barbs, this one goes down. Positive stuff, this one goes up. So, interestingly enough, where we are now, okay, so you can see on the 30-minute, we have a bunch of small kind of levels in here. Retest, this was a new level here. There's a couple things in here. I brought it up to an hourly because it takes some of the chop out of it. We do have a level that is sitting right here at 90.20, or I'm sorry, 91.20. That probably is not a bad short. Now, last time the price came up to this area, it did put kind of a mirror top in, but it had really great movement on the way out. Okay, this thing would need to move about another 10, 15 pips, right? It's hourly. ATR is only 12, and that has been helped by kind of the movement we just had, which would bring us about to the U.S. Open, right? So obviously right now with, the durable goods, we're probably going to see a little bit of a spike. Let me see if the number's in yet. No, not yet. It'll be in like any second here. So I'll get ready to drag this one across. But I do think this is a valid short. I'd like the middle one a little bit better than this one because, again, this one is tested. The middle area is not. So if this is able to kind of punch into this level and go a bit further and kind of grind its way through, for at 10 o'clock, I like the 91.31. Okay, this one may get a little bit of a spike. Let's see if the number's out yet. What do we got here? Ooh, that's good. 11.2 is good. Because again, much higher than expected and higher than the previous. So there's no way you're turning that one negative. Come on, Core. Come on, Core. Give us like a 4.5. Come on, stop messing with me. It's funny. I remember when Forex Factory beforehand didn't have these things. You had to keep refreshing the page, and then it would time out years ago. It was pretty funny. Come on. Okay. 2.4 is less. It is better, but this durable is, man, that's a monster number. That's a great number. All right, so that's good. So again, we should see some dollar strength, and again, that should give us some pop. So again, this will be somewhat of a short-lived one, but I do see that again, this is the dollar strength that we need. So if we can get up here, this is probably a valid entry right now, guys. Again, we're not going to get the huge spike from it because it's only core. It's not, it's nothing crazy. But 91, I'm sorry, 91, like 19 would be the entry. On this one, I'd probably hold this one to a 1 to 4. It's a little bit past, and I think that's okay. That would give us about 25 pips. So again, possible trade right here coming up. If we can get just a little bit more of a punch up on that one, and it should take about the next 10, 15 minutes to be able to get entered. But, it is one valid. I like this upper one a little bit better. So again, if you do want to hold some patience, if you have some patience, wait. I think when the U.S. market opens, I think we'll get another surge in the dollar, just because again they will be reacting to, oh my God, core durable goods is great, and the media is going to have to talk about it, because that is definitely a good news release. Okay, and on the 30-minute, we should be blowing through the minor level. Yeah, yeah, we should be going through the minor one. Hate when I hit reset. So it's funny if I use the indicator to draw the risk of reward. When I hit X to refresh the chart, it deletes it. When I draw it, it does not delete it. Yeah. So we had it drawn here. This is the first one. Again, this is going to be your aggressive entry because again, this mirror top went into there. Here be your conservative entry. I'm kind of hoping at this point. I'm actually kind of hoping that this one gets kind of ground. I hope it comes up in here and stops and grinds sideways, because I feel like once the U.S. market opens, again, we'll get that next little dollar oomph to push us up to this upper, 93, 91.32. And again, I think that'll give us a nice 10 o'clock reversal as this kind of rolls and flips back over as everybody reacts and it kind of counterbalances. So, kind of hoping it does that. Like we get in and then it just holds on us. All right, dollar yen. So dollar yen obviously getting a pop based off of news. Dollar yen, yeah, it's still in that same area. We've been looking to get short this one. This one is -4 in 24 hours. So really not a lot. We had this one level up here that we were talking about up at the 106.56. Um, Here's where we are now. This is where we were sitting yesterday at this time here. Okay, so again, it did give us that form level. So I guess there was a trade in this one. I missed this one totally. This was another one of those 10 o'clock last night. We had lacrosse practice, so I was just absolutely smoked last night. But um, again, this would have been a late night kind of a nighttime chart school time entry on this one. I didn't even see this one. This was one that I totally missed on my radar, probably because of the spike up. But yeah, didn't catch this one. Hopefully you guys did. I can fully admit, did not catch it. You guys are out now. You're 1-3 and you're 1-5. So yeah, that level's probably good for one more hit. 106.51. Man, I'm kind of mad that I missed this one now. 1930. Yeah, that's a nice grab. Oh, see what happens? I'm not used to going to lacrosse practice with the kids again. I go out there one time and I'm like passed out. I'm like drooling on myself, missing trades. So 106.51, guys. Again, this is good for probably one more hit. I like the way that it bounced, retested, and then shot to the downside. So look for that this morning. That could be, again, most likely a 10 o'clock reversal as well. Here, yeah. Most likely a 10 o'clock reversal. Kind of set up for this one. All right. All right. NQ. Look at that. NQ is up. Yeah. So we mentioned it yesterday, what we were looking for. And again, it's kind of setting up because, again, that core durable goods order is a good thing, right? We were mentioning yesterday that, hey, listen, here's where your previous high was, right? And we were saying, hey, listen, draw that for a potential Harry Potter. That if we break through, look for a pullback and look for a possible long scenario, right? Targets up here at 11,824. With core durable goods, today is the day with that positive. Again, that is a great number, being that it was forecast at 4 and it came in not only beating forecast by almost 3 times, but it beat the previous number by such a good amount. So this should help drive the NQ higher today. Right now, again, remember, it's durable goods, so it's going to affect it down more than it will the NQ. But again, if one is positive, they tend to be positive. So again, this would be the valid Harry Potter setup that we talked about from yesterday, taking this one long. Okay, so not much else we can do. We had it drawn from yesterday. S&P. S&P looks like it is in that same area, right? So again, this hit and is now maintained. So again, this could also, potentially get higher. We had called a short on this one yesterday on the hourly, and you guys can see it did pull back a bit. I would assume that this will punch through the top of this level. If you're in this right now, you're probably at break even. And again, this was kind of that new high that we were talking about putting in, right? Let's see. Let's time this one out exactly. So we were sitting right here yesterday, right here yesterday, and all it did was it basically retraced back up and then kind of pulled back down. So, on a technical level, I would say the S&P looks like it wants to go down, but again, with that really great number, the S&P should really push through this. If it doesn't, there's some trickery going on in the markets at this point. But what I would do is again, I'd probably reverse this one. I would probably take this and flip it to the top side. With that type of positive news today, it looks like it should be an up day. If it's not, I'd be really surprised. Okay, So flip that. Look for, again, we're not in the trade. Look for a bounce above. Look for a pullback around the 34, 49, 48 area, pulling back. You'll be able to see it. Make sure you can draw a triangle. Draw something. Draw something along. Oops. I hate when I do that. Draw a little triangle. Have price go around that triangle, come back, and then take that long. And I would see, potential areas for this one coming up to, 34.68 today. I think that would be a valid area for this one to go. And again, there's really no reason why it shouldn't move there. Again, we had this level before, but it's stabilized, it held, it's grinding in that level. It wants to go higher based off of price action anyway. And I mentioned that anyway. Again, we're looking for, news on that one. Shame too, because that was really set up for bad durable goods. If this would have been bad the other direction, like coming in at like negative and like 1, that would have been a perfect short for this position today. That would have been so great. Oh, it was lined up perfectly. I can't believe it held over the 24 hours. But that would have been nice. But yeah, look for that one to go higher. So the Dow. So the Dow I can see today as well, punching a bit higher. Again, the media, they're going to spin this one, but they're going to talk about how good durable goods is. Unfortunately, the problem that this one is having right now, and again, it should have more of a reaction, is it was kind of bouncing into a level, right? I mean, it formed the stabilization level, it dropped, and in reality, it's actually here on the wall right there, where the level is. Okay, so again, it's hit, it's stabilized in front of it, it hit again. It's going to have to punch through that, but again, upside targets on this one, I would say 28,458 are probably not bad levels. But it may need to it may need to rattle back and forth again. This is going to need the retail trader to go higher. But again, Dow with the core durable goods orders that high should absolutely go up today. If it's not, it's just because people are like, I don't know. If everybody gets in there with longs, then maybe we'll get some selling pressure. But that was a really great number. Higher. Let me see. Yeah, this is the only hiccup right now to the top side. Yeah, it's just this one little level that we need to punch through. So, yeah, we got to punch through this one, and then we will be good. All right, gold. Gold, because of that news, is even dropping further. It's dropping farther down. All right, so gold. So the good thing about gold is we had this area that we needed to watch out for, right? Started over here, right? It started this level. I believe it was a 4-hour level. No, it was an hourly. So where my cursor is right now on the left, that's a level we said we need to watch out for. And again, it maintained and punched, maintained and punched, maintained and punched. And what happened? Number four broke. Okay, number 4 broke. So that's what we're typically looking for, is that fourth one to break. Right now, you should technically be short in this position. Unfortunately, we didn't get a good entry, which kind of sucks. But here is the original. And again, here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3. So yes, you expect 4 to go through. Let me see if we can drop this down on a lower level and find a good like pullback area. No, not really. I mean, you can kind of do it here. Let me see here. Still kind of do I have enough room is the big question. Do we have enough room for this to pull back? Barely. All right, so if you guys are looking to get into gold today, look for a little bit of stabilization here. Look for a bit of a pullback. And then again, there is a collapse position here as well. And this is what I would look for. Something along these lines right here, pushing this down, what it would do is it would get us out prior to where the next demand zone is. Okay, that next demand zone is kicking in here. You guys can see the last time that price hit that level. Right. Let me shrink this so I can actually grab the thing. Right here. 1881 was an enormous, look at this, huge buyer stepping in. So again, we need to make sure that we are out before that. And again, that level is the top of this green level. The 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio is sitting right above that, sitting right there. So again, this is the short. Again, I'd like to see a little bit of basing and pull back into that level and then collapse back down again. But I do like 1881. And again, core durable goods is typically good for the dollar. It tends to be one of those signs that is good for dollar strength. Bringing that in. So, look for gold short today. Silver, again, silver, we still have this short play waiting for this to go through, breaking of 25.65. Yeah, how boring is this? Here's where we are right now. Here's where we were yesterday when we were talking, right here. We're basically in the same exact spot. Really hasn't moved because everybody's worried about, kind of the weakening and inflation and all this other fun stuff. So again, same play. Again, make sure that we break through this level. Give yourself, a little bit of. And again, I draw the triangle just to kind of signify going around. Obviously, I cannot draw straight triangles. I'm trying to do it straight, but there we go. Much better. Look for price to come down, break below, go around this triangle. Again, showing that it is dropped, it's basing below and then pulling back up again, and then take that thing short to the downside. Again, that'll look something like this. And I can extend across now. Along those lines. All right. To the same side. All right. Let me pull up our favorite commodity. Get our black gold trade up here. Let me pull our full featured one. All right. Black gold. Texas tea oil. So, interestingly enough, look what this was able to do. So, we talked about this touch yesterday up at that 43.55 level, and we mentioned it kind of pushing back down again. The question was, would it get back up into that range to be able to grab some more sellers where those sellers stepped in before to drag that back down and again push a bit lower? Okay, it really didn't do much. It just stabilized. It went down a little bit in the overnight. Right now, I mean, there are minor levels in this one, and here I'll show you what the minor levels are that I would watch out for as far as news go. Right, I'd be looking at this level right here. Again, is a potential area that we kind of need to watch out for. And let me change this because this is not a short here. Let's change this to blue, just as kind of an area that we want to watch out for. So that would be one level. And let me see on 15. I mean, we obviously have the sellers up top, but probably we can kind of sneak in right here as well. Okay, so this is kind of where we're bracketed in right now, and it looks like 34.40 is kind of where we're looking for sellers to step in. Again, on a minor level, we've hit sellers stepped in, stepped in, stepped in, stepped in, stepped in, and pushed lower. And again, we've had this collapse, and then again, we found buyers down here around 42.80. So I think either of those two are probably not bad levels for this release. Remember, the oil inventory report is at 10:30, so we have about 2 hours, just under 2 hours right now. With the durable goods orders going up, that typically signifies a bit more demand. And again, that's probably why, on this 15-minute chart, that's probably why we're seeing this bounce, even though the morning trajectory is down. So the big question is, can we get down into this level down here at 42.80 before the news? And if so, it could be a nice little spring point today for oil, right? Again, it's all negative. Gold is negative, down 1.5% right now. Crude is down 0.46. But that oil inventory report, again, is expected to already, the market is kind of factored in negative for it already, down 3.4, million barrels. But again, you guys can see here, even when we've been down before, this number has really kind of been off a bit, right? And we did have a miss last week, right? We did have a miss last week. This week, they think there's going to be a bit more. So, yeah. And again, with a bigger miss last week of vacation, stuff like that, again, that could give us a nice little springboard off it. But I would say, a lot of it's going to depend on what literally happens in the next 2 hours. What software is this? This is what I'm showing you right now is actually TradingView. What I was showing you before, I'm not sure when you asked the question because there's a bit of delay. The charts before that had these, this is just MT4. Right? This is just MT4. This is TradingView. Because the MT4 feed I have, their pricing for WTI is a bit off. So I tend to just use TradingView for it. But that's what this is. Okay. TradingView is free. You just go to tradingview.com. You guys can see everything. Again, you get those pop-ups that come up and I just hit close. You can pay for a subscription, but I don't. And you don't get free access to the chart. So this is where I'm looking, guys, kind of top and bottom here. I think either of these two is good today. On a bigger picture, like I said, bigger picture wise, we did have some levels brought in where we're looking for turns up top. This level here between 43.55 and 43.70, I think has been quite strong. Again, front run here, we got just barely touched it. I think that would be if we can get a decent pop today because of oil, if we really, really miss and it pops up, that could be a nice reversal pop for oil today, right? Going up, hitting this blue zone just a little bit above, and then kind of have that roll back over. Downward targets, again, I've drawn that small level. Again, this lower level here I think would be good. Let me get another ray on here and drop that ray into this level right here. I think this is another horizontal ray level, or I'm sorry, another profit level down here at 42.53 that you need to watch out for. Um, it could also be a takeoff point if oil spikes as hard because of the inventory. That could also be a rollover point as well, as far as spiking down, hitting, and then restabilizing itself back up again. So a lot of smaller things on this one. A lot of small levels. Nothing, on the really big kind of grander scheme. But I do think buyers are going to step in and kind of mess with us here. Last time they halted us almost to I mean, you guys can see, look at this. Rally, red base, huge pop, spike down in 2 candles, grab those same levels and punch them higher. So we have to you got to respect that 42.80. All right. So let's see. I'd like this to just kind of collapse until we get down to oil inventory, and then I'd like to take a long off this later. All right. So, guys, awesome. Thanks. I'll check out TradingView. Yeah, TradingView, Brent, it's good. I mean, like I said, you can pay to get the ads gone. I mean, I can typically look at a chart. I have to close a couple boxes down, and it works pretty well. And I like it because it saves your IP address or whatever. So, things that I draw on charts stay. So even some of the things that I've talked about in the past, if I go to them now, it keeps them there. So it works like a regular platform. It's nice. Um, I don't trade. I don't trade through TradingView or anything like that. I don't use any of this stuff. They're like, oh, use this, use this service, use this. I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't even like the charting, but it's just easy for me to do oil up here. But it's got all the basic tools you need. So, I mean, if you're trying to take your charting to the next level, it has enough tools and things like that you can kind of put up here. Um, that makes it helpful, right? But I mean, there's trading. You have your trading panel. You can log in. Warp in different brokers and stuff like that. You have a strategy tester here. The Pine editor, I don't do much with that one. Again, I guess this is how to program for it. Notes, and then obviously they have a stock screener as well, just to make it simple. I think if I click it, yeah, it will bring it up. Nice. So if you guys have a stock screener that you use, nice that you can kind of click it up here. So again, it's online, right? It is a full functioning, platform that you can use. Again, being fully web based, it offers some viable things. Who do we got in? Hawk Bubs, welcome guys or Dubs. So all right, guys, we're getting close to the end here. So what I'll do for the regular, actually for everybody in there, at the end of the session, what we do is we do basically a giveaway. The giveaway is for Pip Chips. Pip Chips is just kind of the channel name. It's the channel currency, and you guys can win things like, you get enough Pip Chips, you can get mentoring sessions. You and I can go into a Zoom session, break down charts, look at your strategy, market psychology, really anything you want. My strategies, all included. So that's the drawing. So I'm going to bring the drawing screen up. Looks like 8 of you guys are in. Everybody gets 1 ticket for free. So even if you guys just got here, you can hit exclamation point ticket and still get yourself in on the drawing. All right. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes because, again, I did kind of go through kind of quick today because there's a couple of them didn't have any great setups to get in. So I'll give you guys a couple more, a little bit more time. I will give you guys now the option. If there's anything you want me to look at, right? If there's anything you guys want me to look at, let me know. Give me the symbol. Type it in the chat. And that's sweet. I will go ahead and kind of analyze something for you guys real quick if there's any stocks that you guys want to see. I try to stay away from the pennies if you can, but anything you guys want me to look at, go ahead and type it in as everybody's getting their last amount of tickets in. And I know there's a delay, so I'll give you a little bit here. I can probably look at like 2 or 3 this morning for whatever you guys want. I don't see anything in there yet. Ernest, yes, you can do CAD Yen for oil. Let's see, CAD Yen for oil. I'll pull CAD Yen real quick. So biggest thing that stands out right now, at least on the 30-minute, Ernest, is this area right here. Look at this. That's a lot of movement very, very fast, and we're kind of stabilizing right now, kind of in that level, right? So, yeah, look at that. We came right off the top here. That was a nice kind of rollover. There was your rollover from the top. See if we can get you a good level in here. You got this little hidden level right here that this tested off of. So you kind of need Tuck this one back, pull it over here. Again, we do have a level sitting right here. And again, it is a tested level. Exchanges off the green so we don't confuse anybody. Let's drop a pink on that one. Drop a 3-1. That level is, it's about 4. So we could probably go a bit more than that. And actually, either one of these two is fine. Downside. So again, we're looking to overtake this kind of full amount here. Here. Target 1. And target 2. So that's what I would have set up for, again, basically a break of 80.43 and drop down there. Okay. All right. From there, let's see what else we got. That's how I'd play that. I'm already short from way up top. Yeah, you could be. Yeah, I mean, if you're short from up here, you're good. I think you're fine holding that one. I don't think it's gonna change. I don't think it's gonna change the trajectory enough that you'd want to be in a different position or anything like that. I think you are. Yeah, I think you're good right now. Right. All right. So I don't see. Let's see. Did none of you guys put any stocks in? All right. Looks like none of you put stocks in today. So it looks like we are skipping the stock section. Um, Ross, yeah, you got one free one, and after that, it costs pip chips. So it looks like you were already in, Ross. Plug, I can do plug real quick. Yeah, let me pull. I can do that one real quick for you. Plug power. All right, so be looking to hold for days, weeks. Oof, days and weeks, huh? How do I get rid of the stock screener? I don't use this enough to. There we go. All right, so back up to start a little bit higher analysis. All right, so obviously in an uptrend, basically since July. I mean, again, we had a little bit of a pullback, and then again, we've been kind of pushing forward. To find where the top of this is. All right, so I would be worried about this level here. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to trade it. All right, so I'd be worried about 14, and here's why. So 14 would make me a bit nervous because the last time that price was here, right? It was a very, very strong hard push in. We based and then pulled away. And then it gapped back into that level the next day and dropped. And then came up again and dropped. Right? So that's a level. On a smaller, kind of shorter term frame, I would kind of worry about this level right here. Kind of the same scenario, but the zone was pushed a little bit harder, right? We came down, we based, we dropped, and found some orders here, right? And then all of a sudden we gapped into it again, went sideways, and got hammered out of that same zone. So depending on, again, there's probably buyers, a couple still left, but it was pushed. But for me, I would be cautious with 14. If we get up to 14, I'd be interested in taking some profit on this one. I just think much beyond that, again, it only barely scratched the surface of sellers. And again, it's not like this was in like the overnight or anything like that, right? And before it kind of it got hammered back down again. So, you know, that's, my biggest concern would be there. Obviously, you can see there's a pullback here, and again, this offered a great buying opportunity, right? We had buyers step in there, so again, that is coming in at 1190. Not a bad level. And again, it was a quick pullback on a lower time frame. It's a little bit cleaner there, but again, Drake dropped it, drop sideways movement and pop back out of again. Below that, again, there's another small level right below it. Again, 1140 is not bad. Let's see what we got. I'm going to see if I can refine these even better on the lower time frames. Yeah, this one got pushed to the brink, so it may not necessarily be that big of a deal. Yeah, this top one is definitely something you're going to need to watch out for. Where is it at? 1405 is something I'd be cautious with. This is a pullback. It's, again, it dropped into it pretty hard, and there's not really any way for me to refine that level. Yeah, I mean, I think this is due for a bit of a. From what we saw yesterday, it looks like this one can go higher, right? It looks like it can go higher. Although sellers stepped in, they pushed this zone literally to the brink. I think I would be a little bit more weary probably about this kind of minor level here on kind of an intraday basis up at 1340. Okay. How are you playing this one? If you don't mind me asking, Big Dubs. Are you buying this straight out, or are you trying to use some options in this one, or what do you if you don't mind? Like I said, I would in this range, you can kind of go either direction. Yeah, most likely to say, yeah. I mean, at $12, the share thing is not horrible. Um, and again, if you're buying shares of this, and I mean, ideally, if it pulled back, that would be a great way to get in. One thing you can do in this one, and again, because of the price, the strikes aren't going to be as far. You may even want to buy this and then throw some covered calls on it. I don't think this one is. It's. I don't. I mean, I don't think there's any reason it's skyrocketing to like 20. Um, I just don't. I just see there's a couple different levels in here that would kind of make me nervous. But one thing you could do on this one is if you bought some shares of this one, because again, not super expensive, you could start throwing some covered calls up here. Okay. Worst case, it goes sideways and it doesn't get up there. If you want to hold it for days to weeks, right? Worst case scenario, it goes sideways. What happens? Your calls, they expire worthless. You collect that premium, it lowers your cost basis lower, right? Lowers it lower, and it keeps lowering it down again. Worst case scenario, it goes boom, pops it back up again. And again, have a stop loss. Again, it could always go against you. You never know, but keep a minor stop loss on this one. But using a strategy like that will, again, if it spikes up in one day because of great earnings, bam, you just got your profit out of it, right? You were able to take your profit out. Again, somebody purchased them, took it from you. Um, but yeah, I would probably buy this because it's so cheap. It's $12. 100 shares isn't going to cost you a whole lot. Get a couple hundred shares, and again, write some options on the opposite side of it. And again, if you don't get the movement to the levels that you think, if you don't feel like it's going to break up here, um, again, all you're doing is lowering your cost basis, making it cheaper, 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 cheaper. Um, most likely to retrace to that 14. Yeah, I think it will have issues at 14. I think it will find some sellers to stop in. I do think we have some stabilization down here at 12 as well. I think that $2 range is probably pretty good. Again, going back to like a 4 hour, you can see earnings was over here. So, we don't, we got to, it's not like earnings is coming next week, right? And it was like, oh my God, earnings were awesome. Woo! All the way up. And now it's kind of coming back down to reality, right? It's kind of like retracing back down, at least on the 4 hour. But again, the last time it popped, it got a nice little bounce off of this area. So, it's eh, eh, it's not bad. I think it will find some stabilization, especially with the economy looking a little bit better, right? I don't think it's bad. All right, I sold my no regrets here. The stock itself, options. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, ideally, you want to sell. If you bought it, you wanted to sell it up here, particularly when you got this rebalance, right? But again, when you have things like this and you find stabilization like we have here, again, it's a very very basic strategy, right? Cover calls is nothing, crazy advanced, right? It's very easy to understand, right? You want someone to take your stock away from you, and if it doesn't, then you get premium. It's what Warren Buffett does. He does it all the time. Um, it's an easy way to do it, and again, because it's cheap, it's on the CBOE. Be able to pull it off. All right. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do the drawing. Looks like we have 11 people in, 19 tickets. The winner yesterday was Nero, who's not even on the winners list. Nero, what are you doing, man? Get in here. Come on, Nero. Apparently, do this and practicing reading charts. Just one of the plays I'm looking at. Yeah, big dubs, and I'm a price action trader, so I'm doing nothing but reading charts. I don't. You'll notice there's no indicators up there. I bought 2 today. Oh, you know what? You're farther down, Nero. You must be farther down because it only shows 10. I trade in 14 SMAs. Yeah, you can. I mean, Manny. I mean, SMAs are fine. Understand they are lagging. Most of the movement will already occur before you end up getting kind of the signal, right? Unfortunately, and that's just as long as you understand the limitations of the SMAs, then you're fine. But understand you are dealing with lagging data. Even though 14 seems like it's quick, it's not that quick because it'll take 5 or 6 candles. You'll miss the entry. So it would be more expensive for you to get into something than what it could have been had you understood something like supply and demand. So supply and demand is more understanding if this, then that, not waiting for a red light, green light system, if that makes sense. And again, I go over it all the time, guys. So just, basically Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're on from 8 to 9 in the morning. Tuesdays, I do something for Nadex. So I do that one from 12 to 1. But every day I talk about supply and demand. So if you guys are interested in looking for systems for kind of like smaller intraday trading and stuff like that, again, and it works on larger time frames too, but we're not in the market right now to hold things for weeks. It's just too much whipsaw back and forth. It's a trader's market. All right, so I'm going to close the giveaway, and we will go ahead and do our drawing for the day. Nora won yesterday, so instead of getting 25 pip chips, if he wins, he will get 50 for the day, or he'll get, like my brain is fried, he will get 100 for today. Ernest is like, wait, what? All right, so winner of today's drawing is, and it is Carl. Look at that. Carl comes in like a sniper. I'm dropping 4, and he goes ahead and grabs it. So I'll mark that as complete, and Carl is one of our resident geniuses, but Carl doesn't attend chart school. I don't even know where Carl is on this list because there he is right there. So Carl doesn't come in too often. He's too busy breaking FTMO and all the funded trading accounts out there. I'm not trading against Carl. Yeah, I know, right? When Carl throws money and you're like, yep, be cautious. No, nobody wants a piece of Carl. It's awesome. All right, guys. And also Manny and Manny, if you have any other questions or big dubs, again, if you guys have Discord, you guys are new and you guys have Discord, you guys are more than welcome. Click the Discord link below. You can join the chat. You can ask questions in chat. Most of the guys that are in here and girls in here right now, you'll see WM, Will, you have Ernest, you have Carl, you have Debbie. They'll all answer questions. They're all great traders of mine. They're all students, so they're more than welcome to help answer questions, or you guys can throw some stuff up, and they'll give you their honest opinions on things. Like I said, I'm all about transparency. If you guys are interested in learning more about what I do, just head over there, ask questions. No harm, no foul. All right, guys. So with that, I am out of here. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Trade good today. Again, watch that oil inventory report. Expect some dollar retracement. All right. For price targets, I use fibs. You can actually use fibs for entries. But again, Manny, what I do with the supply and demand typically lines up with fibs as well, and it doesn't take any like kind of crazy drawing if you're using this or that. All right. Hang with us tomorrow, Manny, and you will see. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Take care.